Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining the American Heart Association and Go Red for Women on this International Women's Day. My name is Tiffany White King, and I am the National Tax Practice Leader from Azar and longtime Go Red for Women Executive Leadership Team member. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you today as we celebrate such a monumental day with an important message for all women to take care of their health. We have an exciting 30 minutes planned for you, and I'm really pleased to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Eugenia Gianos of Northwell Health. We sat down with Dr. Gianos to learn the basics of what women should know about heart disease.
I'm Eugenia Gianos. I'm the director of the Women's Heart Program at Lenox Hill Hospital and the director of cardiovascular prevention at Northwell Health. The one thing I would tell women to know is that cardiovascular disease is largely preventable, and you don't have to have a heart attack or a stroke in your life. So if you just take the time to understand your family history and who is at risk and what your baseline risk is, and you work during your lifetime to make certain changes and improve your lifestyle and get on the right therapies, you can entirely change the course of your life. I can tell women to do is to really advocate for themselves, something that many of us don't do so easily and have to learn. One, for their health, if they're having any symptoms that they're concerned about, that they need to get checked out, that they shouldn't downplay them and that they should really make that a priority. But also in their lives, there's so many things that we are trying to balance nowadays and help other people and do the best at our jobs. But the reality is we can't do any of that if we don't advocate for ourselves and protect ourselves. The 7 key lifestyle areas that are risk factors for heart disease are blood pressure, cholesterol, sugar, weight, smoking, diet, and exercise. The good thing is that we can improve most of them with lifestyle and with working with a program. The most important thing to keep in mind is that these are things that we need to address early in life. It's an interesting thing that we've learned over time, that it's really your exposure to these abnormal risk factors over your whole life that puts you at risk. So the earlier you get started, at targeting these, the better you'll do over the long term. Anytime a woman has symptoms, she should think about going to see a cardiologist to get checked out. That goes without saying. But when it comes to prevention, there are certain things that should prompt a woman to see a cardiologist or even a preventive cardiologist nowadays. So a strong family history, early heart disease in multiple family members, high cholesterol, risk factors that are not well controlled, different things that might be putting you at risk should really prompt you to see a cardiologist or a preventive cardiologist early in your life. These are things that if you get to someone early enough, you can prevent the process of plaque buildup throughout your body. The most important thing to keep in mind is that in 2/3 of cases, the symptoms of a typical heart attack between men and women are the same. It's crushing chest pressure, some sweatiness, shortness of breath, feeling fatigue and out of it. But in women, about 1/3 of the cases don't have the classic chest pressure. So women may just say, I just felt exhausted, or I had shortness of breath, or nausea, or stomach upset. Things that are not exactly what we would have attributed to heart disease, and those are the ones that get missed. But for women, those are actually classic symptoms as well. So we just all need to be aware of that, both physicians and patients. Well, I always tell my patients and friends and family members that if they're ever unsure about what their symptoms are from and worried that this could be something serious, they should just get checked out. It's better to get to an ER or to an urgent care or to your doctor's office and find out that fortunately this was just heartburn or this just was stress. But the truth is that if you don't get checked out and it is something serious, the problem we have is that there's only a certain period of time where we can actually save either the heart muscle or the brain in the case of a stroke. So it is essential to get checked out early on. And I always tell them, if it was nothing, you can blame it on me. Tell them I told you to go, but it's really important to get checked out. So the most important thing we're doing in terms of raising women's heart health is changing the way we practice. I think the first way to target this issue is really to design our practices in a way that tailor to women. So we have questionnaires that ask the appropriate questions about a woman's history that may put her at risk for heart disease. We also ask about all the lifestyle elements and the family history to get that full picture when we first meet the woman. The other things that we're doing is that we partner with multiple services that offer programs for women to target diet, stressors in life, psychosocial aspects, so that we really are changing not just the medical therapy we provide, but the overall therapy. We also partner with the Katz Institute for Women's Health, which provides an entire structure for education and support for our patients. And lastly, we are using our large health system at Northwell Health and a lot of data that we can then learn about sex-specific differences in patients. I happen to love the slogan that the American Heart Association came up with, Reclaim Your Rhythm, because it means so many wonderful things, actually. I think predominantly it is about movement and physical activity and dancing and moving and music, but it's also about reclaiming your rhythm when it comes to mental health and wellness and well-being, and really stopping and thinking at a time, when we've all been through a lot during this pandemic, on both the good and the bad things in our lives, on what we can improve, on how we can change the way we approach our lives to improve things moving forward. So I think, we're all working in different ways to reclaim our rhythms, and in our practices, we're offering support on all of those levels. Both the message of why this is important, but also programs to help women to do this. So when it comes to stress, it's interesting to know that there is great scientific evidence that, in large studies, psychosocial stressors were pretty much similar to even things like diabetes and smoking when it came to the degree of heart disease they were associated with. So this is real, and it is something that we absolutely need to target in order to improve cardiovascular health. So how to do that? One, finding out about services out there, working individually with somebody who can guide you, a psychologist, perhaps a psychiatrist. And then, separate from that, just all kinds of wellness in terms of meditation, in terms of groups, finding exciting, fun things to put on your calendar, being with friends and family, things that will help to improve your mental health. So this is absolutely a key thing. Social support is such an important thing in terms of wellness that we can't forget that piece of the pie when we're thinking about cardiovascular health. We all need to find balance in our lives. I think we tend to be in a society where we go to extremes, extreme diets, extreme exercise, really long work hours. And I can tell you that the patients that I'm seeing really are struggling with a lot of these different aspects. And I think it's so important for all of us, and particularly women, to stop and figure out how can we achieve that balance, really, because every aspect of that is important to health. Your sleep, your exercise, your diet, your community, your friends, your work environment, and sort of thinking about how can we, in small steps, really move towards making improvements in every aspect of that little by little to really achieve a great balance in our lives that'll help our heart health, but that will really just improve our lives.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gianos, for sharing that information to help us all live really heart-healthy lives. This week, we also sat down with Tony Dufour to learn more about the power of storytelling and to raise awareness to hear the inspirational work that McCann Health is doing with the American Heart Association to share the stories of New York City women.
My name is Tony Dufour. I'm the Chief Growth Officer at McCann Health New York, a health and wellness agency here in New York City. Sanal Bhatia reached out and engaged me to join Go Red for Women. And as soon as she asked, there was no hesitation. I was ready for the challenge and ready to participate and help out. It seemed like the perfect opportunity for me to share my expertise and experience, not only on the health side and the women's passionate side, but also on the communications and storytelling side. I believe it was in the summertime that I spoke with Jamie Racanelli and from the American Heart Association, and she gave us the challenge of trying to encourage New York City women to take care of their heart and to reclaim their rhythm, which was part of the existing AHA campaign. So when we were thinking about Reclaim Your Rhythm, it's just all about taking control of your heart and your life. It's an act of self-empowerment, self-love, self-control. It's really finding your groove. So we brought those stories to life in the way only New York City can, using rhythm, grit, style, the voice of the city. And we actually partnered with poets and graffiti artists and musicians that are true New York City artists. And we filmed those poets and artists sharing those survivor stories, animating them on walls and buildings across the city. So this truly is a New York City born and bred sharing of stories. When we reached out to the artists at first, we shared the stories, and a lot of them just felt empowered by these women telling their stories, and they wanted to express them in the way that they deserved. And so when we told them about the Reclaim Your Rhythm idea and how we wanted to bring that to life, there was no hesitation. We actually had an outpouring of support and giving from this tremendous group of acclaimed and accomplished New York City female group. And I do want to actually make a mention of who they are. There's Bettina Gold. She's a renowned performance artist, poet, social activist. She actually recounts and reads the stories of each of these women that we're sharing. Indy 184. She's a New York feminist graffiti artist known for empowering portraits of women. Queen Andrea is an acclaimed muralist, a diehard native New Yorker raised in downtown Manhattan. And Claw, one of New York's most prolific, renowned graffiti artists. Her iconic work has graced New York streets since 1989. So we were really lucky to have them participate. Again, they felt empowered that these women who have shared their stories advocated for themselves. And one of them actually even gave us the quote that their heart health is important, that it's their life force, and that they have to listen to it. You know, we have to honor that these stories need to be told, which was really empowering to hear from Poet Gold. So it was exciting. It was exciting to work with them and bring these stories to life. So we're excited for you all to see them. The power of stories is that they're personal. The power of stories lets you know that you can grab someone's attention and get them to listen to the details. It's always that first line in any book, you know, if you're going to get to the last page. And these stories that women are telling are from the, funny enough, they're from the heart. They want to share because they want you to know that CV risk is affecting 1 in 3 women. The fact that we're not talking about it, the fact that no one really knows that they're connected to people that actually have heart disease, and they're just living with it, thinking that they're all alone. You know, whether it's from sharing stories of different backgrounds or different experiences, it just lets you know that someone else is actually dealing with the same things that you are. And these stories even help to raise the awareness of some of the key risk factors. If we're talking about heart disease, it's just to know what those risk factors and symptoms are, so then you can actually take proactive measures to take care of your heart health. So I'm definitely a big believer in sharing is caring. I'm so proud of this work because it actually brought together New York City born and bred women from across neighborhoods, across backgrounds, across socioeconomic areas, and brought them together to share these stories. It brought them together to emphasize the importance of their heart health. It brought them together to elevate the awareness of these risk factors and symptoms that we should all be taking into account. I'm very proud that this was a woman-led event, a woman-created platform, that the fact that they told their stories makes me want to share more, makes me want to do more and support AHA as much as I can. This is our time. There's never been a better time. I can't believe it's 2022 and we're talking about the impact of women. Yes, damn straight. Women should be talking and screaming to the high hilts that their voice matters, that their stories matter, that everything is equal. And I'm extremely proud that, again, we have women artists supporting these women's stories. So it's for women and by women to support more and more women to share their stories. I can't believe that it's taken this long for all of us to say what we need to say and to elevate what's been going on from a heart health perspective. Here is Natashas Story, as told by Poet Gold and Claw.
I exist in 100 beats per minute, rhythmically moving without limits. My spirit is all in it. When I dance, I am within it. Pumped by beats, I pivot to a healthy lifestyle to win it. Blood, sweat, and tears go in it, but per minute. At 336 pounds and high risk for heart disease, Natasha lost 90 pounds and found her purpose through dance. Natasha reclaimed her rhythm, and so can you. Go to nycgored.heart.org.
Wow, thank you so much, Tony. What an impactful way to share the stories of New York City women and their experiences with cardiovascular disease. I'm really pleased to lead this final segment of our conversation together. This year, I'm serving as the executive lead for the American Heart Association's Women of Impact campaign. Women of Impact, it's an inclusive initiative to drive awareness and raise funds for women's heart health in local communities. Last year, Go Red for Women launched the inaugural Women of Impact campaign and united a team of women changemakers dedicated to making a lasting impact on the health of the New York City community. Each year, a select group of individuals across the country will be nominated to be a part of this exciting experience. I'm really pleased to share that the second annual New York City Women of Impact campaign brings together 6 local women from all walks of life and industries to be catalysts for change. This group of nominees is chosen to be part of this initiative because of their passion and their drive to make a difference. We'd like to thank each of them. Our class of 2022 Women of Impact nominees now: Vivian Armstrong, Agavni Andrea Jeknavorian, Kimberly Lovejoy, Kangela Moore, Kiana Ross, and Sophia Wagner. Congratulations, ladies. And since National Wear Red Day at the beginning of February, the nominees have been participating in a series of fundraising challenges and activities focused on increasing awareness of heart disease and stroke. This campaign is 4 weeks in, and we cannot wait to celebrate the amazing impact made by these women by the time we finish. Thank you again to each of you for being champions of women's health here in New York City. Today, as we look to celebrate all of the milestone accomplishments and empower these women, I'm both thrilled and honored to invite Sophia Wagner, Manager, Strategy and Transactions at EY and Women of Impact nominee, to join me for a special International Women's Day interview. Welcome, Sophia. Now let's warm up with and have a little bit of fun. The American Heart Association recommends, Sophia, 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity per week. What is your favorite way to move?
Thanks, Tiffany. I'm really excited to be with you today. So I live in New York City, like most of the women, and I really try to walk as much as possible going to work. It's great to take a long walk to work, and then also try new workout classes. So I've been doing Pilates recently, spinning classes, just been a great way to stay active, especially during the winter.
What a way to reclaim your rhythm, Sophia. So stay in or go out?
I love to stay in, love a good movie, cooking a new recipe, just relaxing at home. It's really how I like to do it.
I'm a bit of a homebody too. How about any current Netflix binges?
I'm watching Inventing Anna right now, which has been fun since it's based in New York City. So it's nice to see familiar scenes.
That's a great one. I couldn't agree more. I definitely did a binge on that myself. Red wine or chocolate? And it is important to remember that the American Heart Association recommends everything in moderation.
Yeah, I'd have to say a glass of red wine, but of course, always in moderation.
I'm with you on that too. That was a fun icebreaker. I'm sure our viewers today are eager to hear more about you and your Women of Campaign efforts. So how did you first get involved at the American Heart Association?
Yep. So I first got involved with the American Heart Association as an intern in Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania when I was in college, and have stayed involved since. The American Heart Association team has been amazing to work with, and there are so many great programs and initiatives that it's been really easy to stay involved since then.
Thanks, Sophia. Tell us a bit more about why you're passionate about Go Red for Women and women's heart health.
Yep, I think that education and knowledge sharing to improve women's health is really important, and Go Red for Women does a great job of that. They're not only raising funds for women-focused research, but also teaching women how to live healthier lives. And something that really stuck with me is the fact that heart disease is the #1 killer of women, but most deaths are preventable. So that's what I've used to motivate me throughout the campaign and my involvement with Go Red for Women.
Fantastic motivation, and love the point about prevention. What does being part of the Women of Impact campaign mean to you?
I'm really honored to be part of such an amazing campaign. As you said, there's a wonderful group of women. They're all very impressive in New York City and then across the country. It's been amazing to come together to raise awareness and funds for heart health. And while I personally don't have cardiovascular disease or haven't had an instance of it, I think that by learning how to improve my health and prevent disease, and then sharing that with my colleagues and friends, has been what's been really great about the campaign.
We should definitely all do the same, Sophia. How are you utilizing the campaign to empower and to educate your community?
Throughout the campaign, I've planned a number of events for my colleagues and friends to share knowledge on cardiovascular diseases. We're also touching on the importance of heart and brain health, and then raising awareness on health disparities and inequities for women and certain racial and ethnic groups. So I have 3 events coming up in March. We're doing a meditation workshop, a discussion with Dr. Catherine Weinberg on women's and maternal heart health, and then a discussion with Dr. Rachel Maria Brown Talaska on health inequities. I think everyone's really excited about it that I've talked to, and it's great that the American Heart Association can help me get such wonderful speakers to spread awareness and knowledge.
We're so excited, Sophia, and wish you all the best. That's all the time we have for questions today. Thank you so much, Sophia, again, for joining me this afternoon. Good luck with the remainder of your campaign. If you're interested in learning more about our Women of Impact campaign, or want to support one of our nominees like Sophia, the information can be found in the chat box. I want to thank you all for joining us today in celebration of International Women's Day. As we close out the day, I want to remind everyone that our annual New York City Go Red for Women event experience will be held in person, yes, in person, on April 27th at Pier 60 from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. This inspirational and reimagined event will feature a wellness expo, a silent auction, and inspirational speakers, of course. We're pleased to have Kalia Ali serving as our keynote this year. If you're interested in attending, please scan the QR code or visit the link in the chat box to purchase a ticket. I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you, be well, and don't forget, reclaim your rhythm. Thank you.